everyone, it's Helen here from Bodywork-Pilates, and I just want to run through with you a movement that we do quite often in class, sometimes known as side lying open door. And all you'll need for this is a little bit of space and perhaps a wee cushion or pillow. Okay, now I've got quite a long cushion here, but that's going to be useful. So the idea of this movement is that it's going to open up the movement around the ribs gently across the chest, and it's just going to give you a little freedom. And we know that the more mobile we are around the ribs, then the easier it is to breathe, and breathing is obviously quite important. So I'm going to lay myself down. I'm going to lie down onto my side, okay, and I'm going to take my little pillow and I'm going to let that rest with the majority of the pillow behind me. So my head is going to come to the forward edge. Now, if you don't have a pillow for any particular reason, you can use your arm. I've used my arm a lot as modifications, particularly if I'm demonstrating in a class and it's just quicker. And it's always handy because you've always got your arms with you. But I'm going to use a little pillow today. So I'm going to take myself onto my shoulder. So I have my shoulder over my shoulder. Oh, just move down a fraction. Okay, my shoulder over my shoulder, and my head is just at the forward edge of the pillow. So the most of my pillow is behind me. Okay, I've got my hips stacked and my knees are bent, and although you can't see my feet are in line with my bottom. So I'm completely stacked as I would be in any other side lying exercise. I've got my chin slightly retracted because I don't want to put any forward pressure into my neck. That's not the point of this. And I've folded my lower arm because that works for me. You might prefer to take the arm forward. I don't know. Now, very often you'll see this movement done with a long arm, okay? But in my experience, what happens then is people become quite fixated on getting the back of the hand down onto the floor, and that's not the issue. So it tends to cause people to overreach with the arm and pull too heavily into the shoulder and pinch into the back of the shoulder blade. So that's why I'm going to work with a folded arm. I'm going to keep my hips stacked as if the back of my pelvis were just sitting against a wall. So there's nowhere for my hips to go. And you'll know if your hips move because your legs will probably slide against each other. So anchor those legs down, find some length into the torso. We still want to find that length in the spine. We want to take a slight corset around the center of the body, and as always, we're breathing into the fullness of the ribs and the upper back. So I'm going to take the hand just behind the head and have my elbow coming slightly forward. As I inhale through my nose, I'm going to bring my elbow up to the ceiling. I'm going to keep my abdominals slightly engaged, and I'm going to let my ribs roll back as if to take my elbow back, but actually I can still see my elbow in my peripheral vision. And then as I breathe out, I'm going to bring it forward again. Okay, so again, I'm making every effort to try and keep my pelvis as still as possible, stacking those hips one on top of the other, keeping that slight contraction through the abdominals. But now I've got that rotation through my ribs. I'm not forcing my head. My head is just rolling along my little pillow, or if I was using my arm, be rolling along my arm to be held by my hand. And of course, we know we only have about 35 to 40 degrees of rotation in the ribs, in the thoracic area of the spine. So if we really stabilize our hips, is it reasonable to think we're going to get this top shoulder onto the floor? Probably not. So the emphasis is to move your ribs around as if to turn towards the ceiling. But if you were to take the arm long, then the emphasis might be to take the hand down to the floor, and that's not really what we're looking for. You might feel a slight gentle stretch through the front of the shoulder. I suppose it depends really on how tight you are. But again, inhaling, stabilizing my hips, keeping that length in the spine, opening my chest towards the ceiling, making sure my head's well supported, and then bringing it back to center. And then obviously you would do the same thing on the other side. But that is a little movement, as I say, that we do a lot in our classes. It's such a great freedom movement for around the ribs, around the shoulders, gently opening into the chest. As long as you feel no tension in your neck by using either the supporting hand or the little pillow, I'm hoping you're going to get a lot of value out of that. Have a go, see what you think. Take care.